Hello everybody. This is me showing you how to work the first few problems on the stoichiometry maze. So we are obviously going to start at the place that says start. And our first problem says, how many moles of calcium chloride will be produced from 1.4 moles of hydrochloric acid reacting with calcium hydroxide? The first thing you need to do before attempting any stoichiometry problem is to ensure that your equation is balanced. I have one hydrogen on the reactant side. I have two hydrogens on the product side, so I can immediately tell that no, this is not balanced. So I have two chlorines here. I need two chlorines here. That gives me two hydrogens, two hydrogens. I have two chlorines, two chlorines. I have one calcium, and that hydroxide has thrown things off. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I can use this little trick of splitting water, and instead of H2O, I'm going to have it as HOH because I have hydroxide on this side and now I have hydroxide on that side. You can do this little trick with water anytime you see hydroxide on one side and water on the other side. So if I look at this now, I have one hydrogen and one hydroxide here. And if I put a 2 here, now I have two of those hydrogens and I have two of those hydroxides. And so now my equation is balanced. 2 moles of hydrochloric acid, hydrogen chloride, 1 mole of calcium hydroxide, 1 mole of calcium chloride, and 2 moles of water. I'll go ahead and make a video on balancing equations where I show you guys how to do that in full. But for right now, let's just go with this as our balanced equation. Let's go back to our question. What is the given in the question? Find the number that is in the problem, and that is always going to be your best indicator of what the given is. So we have 1.4 moles of hydrochloric acid. And when you are writing down your problem, I've seen many people starting over here. These problems tend to run long. Start over on the left-hand side and give yourself as much room as possible. I am going to write down my given, 1.4 moles of hydrochloric acid. Your life will be so much easier if you include the unit as well as the substance. You can argue with me all you want to. I won't argue back. I'll let you do it. You'll probably end up coming around to my way, but you do you. I like to put this over 1. I'll explain why in just a moment. The next thing that I am going to do is I'm going to get the yellow Doodle Docs document, the member of your chemistry squad that's talking about moles. And if you look at the back of that document, it gives you a step-by-step list of what to do. Here's an example. Number 1, if the given equation is balanced, go to step 2, otherwise balance the equation. We did that. Number 2, read the problem and find the given. We did that. Number 3, if the given is in moles, go on to step 4. Look at your given. This one is in moles. So we're going to move straight to step 4. To convert from one substance to another substance, use the mole ratio. Please add this if it's not already on there. The mole ratio comes from the balanced equation. So we are going to look at our balanced equation. And in the balanced equation, we're looking at moles of hydrochloric acid, hydrogen chloride, and we have 2. Is that going to go on the top or the bottom? If I put it on the top, I am multiplying moles of hydrogen chloride times moles of hydrogen chloride, and I'm going to end up with moles squared of hydrogen chloride squared. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what I'm looking for. I want moles of hydrogen chloride to cancel out. So I am going to put 2 moles of hydrogen chloride on the bottom. The 2 came from my balanced equation. What I can do is I can cancel out moles of hydrogen chloride, and on the top My problem is asking me to find moles of calcium chloride. I find moles of calcium chloride again from my balanced equation. So I'm going to put 1 mole of calcium chloride on the top. Again, these two numbers came from my balanced equation. Moles of hydrogen chloride have canceled out. The only thing I have left is moles of calcium chloride, and that is what the problem is asking me to find. I am now going to stop here because when you get your yellow paper and look, it says, now you have moles of the new substance, moles of calcium chloride. If that is what the problem asked for, stop here. That's what it asked for. I'm going to stop here. So now I just do my math. 1.4 times 1 is 1.4. 1 times 2 is 2. I multiplied everything across the top. I multiplied everything across the bottom. And now the top divided by the bottom. My answer is 0.70 moles of calcium chloride. So when I look at my maze, it's right here. This must be our second problem. What mass of water will be produced from 2.70 moles of calcium hydroxide reacting with hydrogen chloride? Please notice that we don't actually need to do anything with the hydrogen chloride. You can ignore that. We're starting with calcium hydroxide and we're going to water, and we can ignore everything else. So we're going to come down here and we're going to start our next problem. We start with a balanced equation. Done. Step 2, read the problem and write down your given. Our given is 2.70 moles of calcium hydroxide. I'm going to put that over 1 because, let's look at this problem we finished up here. When I say multiply everything across the top, if you don't put your given over 1, some people don't understand that the given is on top. If you can understand that, you can leave off the 1. But if you're a little confused, put the given over 1. It is not over 1 mole. It is not over 1 gram. It is just over 1, and that 1 is there only so you can see that your given is on the top. If you're having any difficulty with that, you can come to me or you can ask a math teacher. All right, let's come over here. Here is our given. We've put it over 1. Again, no unit on the 1. All right, let's look at our yellow paper again. We have a balanced equation. We wrote the given. If the given is in moles, go to step 4. It is. To convert from one substance to another substance, use the mole ratio from the balanced equation. I'm going to find moles of calcium hydroxide, and I'm going to put that on the bottom. Now I'm going to put the moles of the thing I am looking for on the top. And it tells me that I'm looking for water. So I come up to my balanced equation, and I have 2 moles of water. I don't know if that is showing up on the camera or not, okay? So I'm going to write 2 moles of water. If that is what the problem asked for, stop here. Let's go back and read the problem. No, the problem says what mass of water. So how do I go from moles of water to the mass of water? You can look at the front of your paper, or you can use this chart here. They both work. All right, I started with moles of the given. I used the mole ratio to go to the moles of the thing that I'm trying to find. Now I'm trying to go to grams of the thing that they want me to find. How do I go from moles of the thing I'm finding to grams of the thing I'm finding? I have to use the molar mass. So the molar mass of water is 18 grams per mole. Well, where do I put the 18? Remember that we keep putting things so that the units and the substances cancel out. For example, moles of calcium hydroxide cancel out there. And what do I have left right now? Moles of water. But I want to go to grams of water. So I know that I'm going to put moles of water down here, so that moles of water cancels out, and that leaves me grams of water on the top. The only unit I have left is grams. The only substance I have left is water, and that is what they asked me to find. What is the mass of water? Remember that grams is the unit of mass, just like dollars is the unit of money. If somebody asks me to find out how much something costs, I'm not going to have the word costs in my answer. I'll have the word dollar in my answer, because dollar is a measurement of cost. Grams is a measurement of water. So if they ask me for mass, grams is a unit of mass. If they ask me to find the mass and I find grams, then I know I've done it correctly. So now I'm going to multiply everything across the top. That will give me an answer. I'm going to multiply everything across the bottom. That's just 1. So when I multiply everything across the top, that is my final answer. So 2.7 times 2 times 18 equals 97.2. And that is going to be grams. So I'm going to get my maze here, and here are my options: 13.3, 2.3, 0.3, 24.3, or 97.3. I got 97.2. Guys, that's close enough. Do not stress over the very last number. If we've had time to do significant figures this year, you understand why. If we haven't had time to do significant figures this year, you don't trust the last number anyway, so if the only thing that's wrong is the last number, do not sweat it, just move on with your life. All right, this is the last problem that I'm going to be working today. Let's take a look at this one. How many moles of calcium chloride will be produced from 3.572 grams of calcium hydroxide reacting with hydrochloric acid, hydrogen chloride? Hydrogen chloride is not actually needed in the problem, so ignore it. Step 1, our equation is balanced. Step 2, and again, I'm just reading my directions straight off of this document. Step 2, read the problem and find the given. When I read the problem, my given is 3.572 grams of calcium hydroxide. 3.572 grams of calcium hydroxide over 1. And they want me to find moles of calcium chloride. If the given is in moles, go on to step 4, otherwise convert it to moles. My given is in grams, so I do need to convert to moles. How do I do that? Again, you can look on the front of this paper, and you should have filled out how to convert between moles and mass. If you haven't done that, you need to do that right now. 1 mole divided by the molar mass, which is given in grams, or you're going to use the molar mass, which is given in grams, over 1 mole. Okay? If you don't have that already, you need to take the time right now to get that. I'm going to give you just a moment. Okay, so now that you have that, or if you're looking over here, our given was in grams. How do we go from grams of the given to moles of the given? We use the molar mass, which is exactly what you just wrote here. So does the molar mass go on the top, or does the molar mass go on the bottom? That's why we are writing our units and our substances. We have grams on the top here. We want grams to cancel out, so we are going to put grams on the bottom. Hopefully you have already figured out the molar masses of everything involved. If not, you should probably just go ahead, pause this video for a minute, and write down the molar masses of everything here. For example, the molar mass of water is 18 grams. The molar mass of calcium hydroxide is 74.09 grams. One quick note, you do not multiply the molar mass times this 2. Okay? The molar mass is the mass of one single mole. Please note in our conversion factor it says 1 mole. You do not change that to the number of moles in the problem. The number of moles in the problem, you're going to see that in the mole ratio. Don't put it here. If you put it in the mole ratio and here, you're going to end up canceling those out, and your answers are going to be wrong. You always copy a conversion factor exactly the way you see it. So in this problem, I know that I want grams of calcium hydroxide on the bottom because I want those to cancel out. That means the top is going to be 1 mole of calcium hydroxide. All right, the molar mass that I had already calculated is 74.09 grams of calcium hydroxide. Grams of calcium hydroxide cancels out, and that left me with moles of calcium hydroxide. That was step 3. Step 4, to convert from one substance to another substance, use the mole ratio from the balanced equation. And if you look up here, it says that. Moles of the given to moles of the thing I need to find, we use the mole ratio. So I'm starting with calcium hydroxide. When I look at my balanced equation, okay, I have 1 mole of calcium hydroxide. I'm going to put that on the bottom because I want moles of calcium hydroxide to cancel out. It is asking me to find moles of calcium chloride. So I'm going to go to my balanced equation, and I find out that I have 1 mole of calcium chloride in my balanced equation. Let's go back to the yellow paper. Now that you have moles of the new substance, if that is what the problem asked for, stop here. Otherwise, convert from moles of the new substance to grams or liters. My problem asked me to find moles. I have moles, so I stop here. I'm done. Multiply everything across the top. That is just going to be 3.572 moles, not grams, divided by 74.09. Hey guys, stop and look. We have a very small number of grams that we were given, okay? That is much less than the molar mass of one substance. So my answer is going to end up being less than 1. My answer is going to be a decimal, and that is okay. So we bring our calculator up here, 3.572 divided by 74.09, and my answer, just as expected, is below 1, and that's okay. 0.05 moles of calcium chloride. Okay, so that is the first 3 problems on this page, and I hope that helped. Thank you.